Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. Today is Wednesday, and on Wednesdays I do my Q&A videos where I basically answer your questions. And this week I have a lot of questions. That should be pretty fun, actually. There's some really great questions. I'm going to show lots of great stuff. I'm even going to do a room tour, kind of, just to show a bit of my organization. And that will be fun. I'll try to put that at the end of the video, so you gotta watch all the questions to get to the end, and you'll see the room tour. So that's something to see at the end. But we'll first start with the question from Young Comics. I love your passion for older books. They are definitely way harder to obtain. My question may be off, but do you have a safety plan if your house were to catch fire? If you had to choose 3 to 5 books to save, would you save if you could? And that's what I worry about the most, since I've started collecting, and I just started my channel to share my finds in my state. Okay, so for me, there's a couple of good things going on with this room, actually. So if there was a fire, unless it was actually in this room would probably not burn. It's about, I'd say about 2 feet thick of concrete and a fire seal door. So this is actually like pretty, like, you know, if you're in a fire, you might want to be in this room, because this room would be pretty safe. It might be a little oven, but yeah, it's actually quite safe in terms of fire. But if, let's say, there was a fire and I was only able to grab a few books, I'd probably try to grab a few of my big books, like, you know, my All-Star 8, my Sensation 1, my Wonder Woman 1, whatever I could grab, and just like maybe like that kind of thing, where I just grab a whole bunch of books and run, hope for the best. But yeah, those would be the ones I'd grab, my most expensive books, because I figure if worst case scenario, I just sell those and then get the money to buy some more books again. But yeah, so there is not really a safety plan per se. I do have house insurance, and it actually insures my comics as well. But yeah, no real safety plan per se. In terms of, I'm actually moving, and that's something I just have. This is sort of an announcement as well. So when you're watching this, I would have sold my house the day before, literally the day before. So on Tuesday, I sold my house, and I'll be moving. I'm actually buying a house as we speak. So literally, as you watch this, I'm going to be buying a new house, and I'll be moving. So that's so in the new house, I'm actually kind of trying to figure out how to make it so that my comics will be safe in a case of a fire, in case of flooding, or anything. And it's kind of a challenge. Also, figuring out just the logistics of moving is going to be a bit of a challenge, because this room, when you see the room tour, you'll see it's really packed. Okay, so just that was an extra little announcement. I will be moving. I'll actually be moving soon, probably in the next 2 months. So it's, I thought I was going to be moving a year from now, but it's been moved up. So I'll be moving very soon. So yeah, actually 2 to 3 months, I should say. Okay, next question comes from August Kazme. Hopefully that's right. I love the Golden Age content. Can you show some of your Golden Age underwater covers? My favorite happens to be Hit Comics number 5. Interested in what you have in your collection. Thanks. Okay, so I brought a bunch of underwater comics. And let me just grab them all. Okay, so we're going to start. I've shown this one many times. It's a really great Lily Renee cover. It is Planet Comics number 49. It's kind of this mermaid. I love mermaid covers, just so you know. And this is, you know, sort of that underwater through the little portal on the ship. So yeah. And I love ones where there's underwater and it has like those weird helmets, and that's this one right here, Rangers Comics number 33. So it's like 2 people fighting a shark. But they have the cool helmets on their heads. You can see that. And it's a great Good Girl art cover. So I really like this one. Ranger Comics number 33. And there's a series actually called Land of the Lost. And it had a whole bunch of underwater kind of themed covers. They go underwater a lot. So Land of the Lost number 2. They're kind of with all these like different underwater creatures. Which is kind of fun. And then we got Land of the Lost number 5. Again, this is sort of, you can see the bubbles and they're kind of underwater. I don't know how the kids can breathe underwater, but they can. So we'll just go with it. So they Land of the Lost number 5 and Land of the Lost number 1. This is a really great one where they're swimming down into the tunnel underwater. So it's kind of fun. So I like Land of the Lost. This nice EC collection. And then another one, this is a Matt Baker cover where he's kind of with these water nymphs. And it says Princess of the Sea. And it's like different, a guy kind of going underwater and there's these kind of green fairies or whatever they are. Water nymphs, actually, water nymphs. So yeah, just really great cover. I like this one. This is a nice underwater one. Usually, like I like when they put use a lot of greens in underwater things. I kind of think that's kind of realistic. But here's another one, Beyond, number 21, and it's another mermaid one. So I really like mermaid covers. I kind of like these kind of old style mermaids. This is like very traditional style. If you look at like older like maps and stuff, or things where they show mermaids, they would have these kind of weird, crazy mermaids. Because mermaids or sirens would be ones that would actually kill poor sailors and stuff like that. So that kind of reminds me of that. So we got a little mermaid there on the side and, kind of cute mermaid. And this is Beyond number 21. So those are my underwater Golden Age comics. I actually have a bunch of modern underwater ones or like later issues. That are underwater, but those are my Golden Age ones. I'm just gonna move things around a bit. Okay. Next, C. Comics wrote, "First off, I love your content always." See, that's good. That's a good answer. That's a good thing to write. Okay, I love seeing your new videos. Second, I do have a question for you. What are your thoughts on Green Label Golden Age? Example, missing an ad page or even a page that affects the story. I don't think I've seen a Green Label in your collection. Am I wrong? Thank you. Actually, you are wrong. I have a bunch of Green Labels, but not that many. I try to avoid them if I can, just like anyone else. Like, it's not like we go out and try to find that Green Label. Oh, I want a Green Label now. But I do personally not like Green Labels. I kind of want a complete book, but sometimes I do buy incomplete books. And I'll give you a few examples of my Green Labels. I don't have that many, actually, which is a good thing. I don't really want to have Green Labels because, as I said, I like to have the complete book. But I'll show you one where it's incomplete. So a Green Label, for those who are not familiar, it just means that it's incomplete in some way. And this is an example of that. So this is Wings Comics number 26, and it is missing centerfold effects story incomplete. So Wings Comics number 26. And this one I actually got from a viewer of the channel. He gave me a really great deal on it, so I couldn't really pass it up. And it is a great cover, and it's if it wasn't for the fact that it's incomplete, it really does present really well. So I was like, why not? I like these Good Girl art covers. This is I believe, who did the cover? I believe it's Jean Fawcett. So that was kind of cool. But I also have, this is kind of an interesting Green Label. And this one is actually more valuable, in my opinion, because it is a Green Label. And it's one where it's an error. So this is a qualified grade, and it says manufactured without staples. So it got a Green Label. I don't know why they gave it a Green Label, but it is incomplete, but it was never it never had staples, and it's it is in my opinion rarer than one with staples, right? Because error ones are usually a little more rare, and this one just never was manufactured with staples, so it got the qualified grade. But in this case, it's something which would be more valuable. And it's kind of cool because you can actually see, if you look at the cover, there, where their staples should be is just nothing. There's not even the holes, so you can tell the staples weren't removed. The only thing that was wrong with this cover is like the little chip at the bottom there, and that's why I got an 8.0. But it's really solid, a solid golden age book. This is Felix the Cat #1. So just a really great book. Okay, and I kind of wanted to show some things that don't have green labels, and I want to explain why they don't, and some of the things about green labels, so people kind of learn a bit about green labels, because I always like to take this opportunity to try to educate people. So I want to show you, normally what happens is if it's above a 3.0, it'll get a green label if it's missing something. If it's below a 3.0, like a 2.5 or whatever, it will get either a half, it'll be like a half grade, like a 0.5. So I'll show you an example of that. This one's kind of mangled case, but this is incomplete book. It is cover detached, centerfold missing, effects story incomplete. So this is a 0.5 grade. Now the book would probably grade out at a 2, maybe a 2.5 on a good day. So it is under that 3, so they gave it the incomplete grade of a 0.5 blue label. So that's kind of something interesting. And I just wanted to show one more that's kind of interesting, that it has a blue label, but it's actually a fairly high grade, or higher grade. It's a 2.0, and it's missing an ad page, and it's incomplete. It says 1/4 of a page missing, of 28, page 28 missing, effects story incomplete. And it didn't get the blue label, a green label, but it got the blue label, and it's a 2.0. Actually, I didn't realize that it was incomplete when I bought it. I thought it was, because I saw the blue label, and I made the same mistake that many people might make. When they see a blue label, they assume that it has to be complete. Well, when it's under a certain grade, you can actually be missing pieces and not get the blue label, and not to get the green label, I should say. So that's something I just wanted to point out. And yeah, this is a good example of that. So that's a little bit of my green label collection. I'm not sure if that's the right way to call it, but I hope that gives a little bit more insight into the way green labels work, and gives you an insight into what to watch for in terms of the green labels. And in terms of my perspective of it, if it's slabbed, you can't really see the missing pieces, so sometimes it's okay. Just like the Wings one, I like the way the cover presents, and as long as it presents well, sometimes it kind of looks nice, even though it's incomplete. But I prefer, ultimately, to have a complete book. So preference is towards less green labels in my collection. But yeah, I do have some. Okay, Joe, my friend Joe, from Black Box Silver and Bronze, wrote, you did DC and Marvel, so how about showing your top 5 Charlton characters and favorite covers? Well, I'm not going to show necessarily my favorite covers, but I'm going to show my top 5 Charltons, if that makes sense. Because Charltons, I'm not a big fan of their covers, to tell you the truth. I don't know. Some are better than others, and I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of Charlton's covers. But they're okay. I think there's companies that do better covers. Generally, Charlton's books are of lower grade in terms of the quality of the paper that they used and stuff. But I'm going to show you some top 5 characters. We're going to start out with one of my raw comics from Charlton, and it's $6 Million Man. Actually, I think this is kind of a cool cover, actually. But I was a big fan of $6 Million Man as a kid. I had like the Play-Doh set, I had the doll, I had the tattoos, I had so many things from $6 Million Man as a kid, and I just, I'd pretend with, pretending to be the Bionic Man, So $6 Million Man. This is the first appearance of the $6 Million Man. So yeah, kind of a cool book. And then we got from 1967. This is Blue Beetle #1, and this is actually the first appearance of the Question. So kind of a cool character. He doesn't, sort of a faceless character, kind of like a detective. A lot of these characters influenced the creation of the characters for the Watchmen. So the Question is kind of like similar to Rorschach, I think would be his equivalent. So this is the first appearance of the Question from 1967. Next is Captain Atom #83, and this is the first appearance of the Blue Beetle. So figured, if you have the Question, might as well. And that was in the Blue Beetle. Well, have the Blue Beetle, which is in Captain Atom. So Blue Beetle is similar to the owl, I think, in the Watchmen. I think it's the owl. So kind of a cool character, cool cover a bit. This is Captain Atom #83. And we gotta have I'm showing kind of like they're all connected in a way. This is the first appearance of Captain Atom, and this would be like similar to Dr. Manhattan in the Watchmen. So this is Space Adventures #33, and it's kind of a cool book. You got him flying up into space, and it says Captain Atom, and sort of a cool book. And you can win a trip for Disney World, which is kind of fun. And last but not least, the Fighting Five. This is the first appearance of the Peacemaker. So kind of a cool book. This is from 1966, and it's origin and first appearance of the Peacemaker. Kind of a cool book. Too bad he's not on the cover, but it is cool anyways. So that's the Fighting Five. Okay, so those are my top 5 Charlton books. I actually have a fair number of Charlton first appearances, like first Judo Master and first Fighting Five, first a bunch of the characters from Charlton. I think it's one of those companies that was kind of overlooked, and there's a lot of stuff that came out from it, and it's one of those ones where actually, if you want to know my favorite covers from Charlton, actually they would be the romance covers. I think they have some pretty amazing romance covers. So I'm not super keen on those covers, strangely enough. I just I think there's better covers from other companies. That's just personal opinion. Nothing against Charlton, but it is what it is. Okay, next question comes from Mike Swintel. Alan, could you show Fantastic Four 48, 49, 50, then show the corresponding reprint covers from the Marvel's Greatest Comics? I think they might be 35, 36, 37. And you can explain how the first print covers that were never published before and what they did with the different covers on the reprints fascinates me. Thanks. Okay, so I'm not super familiar with Marvel's Greatest Comics, to tell you the truth. I know that they are reprints, and I don't have any of them. There's 0 in my collection. I don't have any, so I can't really show you the covers from the other, like the corresponding ones. But often what you would have is within Marvel's Greatest Comics, they would use like covers from like Fantastic Four or Tales to Astonish or Tales of Suspense, and they wouldn't necessarily match the cover with internal stories. And it actually started with issue number 23, Originally, it was called Marvel Collector's Item Classics, which is kind of weird. But and then it changed its name to Marvel's Greatest Comics in issue number 23, and it ran 96 issues. But it kind of published a lot of the greatest stories from the different Marvel series. But yeah, but what I'll do, at least, I will show you 48, 49, 50. Okay? Oh, yeah, over here. I have to look around. I have all these packages behind me to show. So, speaking of green labels, before, my 48 is a green label. And it was missing a coupon. So, it's a green label. So this is number 48. This is the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. And sort of like cameo of Galactus. So yeah, sort of a cool book. And it's also a Watcher cover, which is kind of cool. And then we got number 49. This is the first full appearance of Galactus and first cover appearance of Silver Surfer. And just kind of a cool book. So Fantastic Four 49. And then we got Fantastic Four number 50. I actually like this cover. Like, a lot of people criticize it because of the brown, but I actually like it because it really zooms in on Silver Surfer. So this is Fantastic Four number 50, and it is Silver Surfer battles Galactus. Johnny Storm goes to college. First appearance of White Wingfoot. So that's all the things going on with this book. And it's just kind of a cool book. I actually really like this cover. I don't necessarily like the brown. I think they should have went with a black or with maybe even a bright color. It could have popped. I don't know. Something. But it does, to me, it's still a nice cover regardless. And I really enjoy it. So that's number 50. So that's all I can say about those ones. I can't show the reprints that kind of correspond to them, but yeah, sorry. Okay. Again, Black Box and Silver asked one more question. Okay. You showed Infinity cover Little Max. Okay, so I was showing this Infinity cover. This is Little Max. And just so you know, for those people who are not familiar with what an Infinity cover is, so you got the cover, and then if you look here, they're looking at a comic with the same cover, and then that cover is being repeated here, and then in that it's getting repeated again, and it's to infinity. So it's a cover that repeats itself. So that's called an Infinity cover. And it's kind of a cute one. This is the kind of first appearance of Little Dot, but yeah, it's kind of, maybe Sad Sack is really the first appearance of Little Dot. It's one of those ones I had to look up. But yeah, so this is Little Max, and you know, it's in an Infinity cover. Wow, I had a little challenge saying that. Okay, so what is he saying here? So that's the one that kind of inspired this question. And what other Infinity covers do you have? I'm guessing it may be Richie Rich 145, Batman 8, Terry Toons 55, Walt Disney Comics 33, 66, or 1518, which I don't have any of those. Strangely enough, I don't have any of those. Actually, after reading this question, I ended up buying a few of them just because they were available on my comic shop. So I ended up picking them up, but I didn't have any of those ones. But I do have some cool Infinity covers. So please show your Infinity covers. Well, I'm going to show some of my Infinity covers. So first of all, there's this really cool Donald Duck one. This is from March of 1946. And you can see again, one of the things that they'll do is always, have the comic in the guy's hand so that it kind of can repeat inside the comic. Yeah, it's, Donald Duck putting his hands up. So this is volume 6, number 6, Walt Disney Comics and Stories. Nice Infinity cover there. And this one's actually a really cool one. This is not only an Infinity cover, You can see the magazines where it repeats. But it is also the first appearance of Tawny the Tiger on the cover. It's his first cover appearance. And this is Captain Marvel 82. I was trying to remember the number. So this is Tawny's first cover appearance, which is kind of cool. This is actually my dupe. I actually have two of these. And then here is the Marvels. Nice Infinity cover. You can see that one's actually quite well done because they really zoomed in on the comic, which is, so it allows you to see the Infinity cover a lot better. And another one that kind of does something similar is the Simpsons comics. This is a really good one. I like this one a lot. So that's Simpsons Comics and Stories number 4. And my last Infinity cover is number 18. And I do plan to do a cover challenge at some point once I get enough Infinity covers in my collection with Infinity covers. But this is WoW Comics number 18. And it's just a really great Mary Marvel cover. So you see her repeating and repeating and repeating. And it's like multiple Infinity covers. That's why I really like it. So there's like all these are Infinity covers. And this is actually the first appearance of Uncle Marvel, which is kind of fun too. Okay, so those are all my Infinity covers for now. I actually have a few probably that I just don't remember that I have, but I'd have to search a bit to find them. But those are all the ones I could find easily. Okay, next question. This is from Martin Bow. What comic do you own with the oldest publication date? Well, Mark Olroyd gave me a comic that has a really old publication date, but I can't seem to find it. It's somewhere in my collection, and I think because of the way I've kind of moved boxes around, and you'll see that when I do the room tour, that I can't easily get to it. So that I can't show. However, it was kind of a comic magazine, and so I want to show some more like comic books, and I'll get to what I mean by that. So this is some of my oldest comic books. Okay, so this one is The Adventures of Mickey Mouse. This is actually the first cover appearance of Donald Duck. That's Donald Duck right there. So it's in really rough shape. But this is, The Adventures of Mickey Mouse. And this is from 1931. I'm going to zoom in there. Hopefully you can see it when I do this. So there, 1931. So that's kind of a cool book, early Mickey Mouse. And then one of my earliest comic books of comic book size, maybe, is The Funnies. And this is from 1936. It's kind of a cool book. So this is The Funnies number 1. This has actually got a whole bunch of really major Platinum Age characters. It has the first Captain Easy, Alley Oop, Mutt and Jeff, and Tailspin Tommy. So a bunch of cool characters made their first appearance in this. So it's kind of a cool book. And it's my one of my oldest comic books of comic size, if that makes any sense. Okay, so those are some of mine. Yeah, actually, it's sort of funny. Whenever I show my comic room to non-comic collectors, the first thing they ask is, "What is your oldest comic?" And so it's kind of funny, But somehow, price doesn't always get reflected in age. So you can have really old comics that are not necessarily that valuable because they're just not as valuable as some of the more modern comics, which is kind of strange. But I do like the old comic books. Okay, next question. And Comic Meg Musings wrote, I know you curmudgeonly Canucks don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but do you have any Thanksgiving-themed comics? If so, which ones? Okay, actually, you are mistaken. We actually celebrate Thanksgiving earlier and first. We actually have our Thanksgiving celebration existed before the Americans started celebrating Thanksgiving. we celebrate Thanksgiving in October. It's the second Sunday of October. That's the way we kind of work it out. And the Mondays are always a holiday after that Thanksgiving. So that's the way it works in Canada. And a lot of the sort of the early stories is similar. Like, sort of Thanksgiving where it has sort of religious and also situation where early settlers were dealing with the local populations and would share food with them. So that's kind of, it's kind of similar to the American one. And I actually brought, which I just buried, some Thanksgiving ones to show. I don't have many Thanksgiving. Like, actually, Thanksgiving is one of those themes that you don't really see that much in comics, strangely. But I do have a few, and they're both from Walt Disney Comics and Stories. So there's this one, which is, I'm not even sure what number this is. Oh yeah, this is Walt Disney Comics and Stories number 135. I think this is kind of a cute Donald Duck dressed as a pilgrim, and Huey, Dewey, and Louie dressed as like turkeys. I think it's quite great. And then we got, this is a kind of a, maybe the end result of that. This is Walt Disney Comics and Stories 63, and you got the turkey chasing after after Donald Duck. So these are the two Thanksgiving themed comics that I have. I don't have that many. So yeah, so that would be it in terms of my Thanksgiving collection. Now the very last question is the room tour question, and I will. Okay, but not spoiler. Viewer discretion is advised. The room that you're about to see to answer this question is incredibly messy, so please understand that my room is incredibly messy. There's reasons I was showing my house, and I stuffed everything into this room that I had spread out through my house. So it's a little more messy than usual. Like, it's not normally this bad, but today it is pretty bad. So yeah, with all that said, let's get into the question. This is the final question, and I'll do a little bit of a room tour for it. Jonathan Cheers wrote, how do you have your collection organized? I love hearing about other people's organization of their collection, and sometimes it is helpful to see how others do it. Okay, so you're going to see my organization and you're going to be like, maybe that wasn't so helpful. But I'll pause the video, and then I'll show my very, very messy room. I apologize for that. Okay, so this is my room. You've probably seen my back wall many, many times. This is my back wall. And in front of my back wall, I have a whole bunch of slabs. I'm going to try to show this kind of slowly. In front of some of my slabs, you'll notice like I put some of my raw comics. So you'll see all my Planet comics, and they're in order of issue number. And I'll do that with other collections where I have a bunch of Golden Age collections. So I'll show you like my Jungle Girl up there. It's like the whole collection of Jungle Girl, my Land of the Lost, my Bullet Man, my Ghost comics over here. It's all together. So I'll kind of put them all together on this countertop. So underneath the countertop, you'll see it's like cabinets. Okay, so that's kind of the way I do it. It's a little weird. And then over here, I have my shelving units. So in front of my shelving units, I'll put like something just to hide the fact that there's boxes in behind. So I'll put like, and it goes up pretty high, and then all the way up to the ceiling. And then there's comics all like sort of slabs all along the top there. Now, if you notice right here, you'll see that there's a box in behind. So in behind each of these things is there's boxes. So, and I try to keep it in order of some kind of theme. Right now it's a little disorganized. So this is like Ninja Turtles, and in behind it is actually not related to Ninja Turtles at all, but it's like all my good girl, like sexy good girl slabs are in behind there. And the next row is like my Black Cat, and then Fight Comics, some of my Fight Comics, and then more my Namora, and more about Black Cat, and then some Jungle, Terrors of the Jungle. And at the very bottom, I have my slabs, and you can see that there's some disorganization. As I said, I was a little bit disorganized. Those are slab boxes, and on the front of the slab boxes, I'll zoom in so you can see. I'll write what's inside the box. And if I don't, you'll see this one doesn't have it. That means it's disorganized. I don't know what's inside. It could be anything. And I have to go, at some point later, I'm going to organize it. And then in this section, in the middle, which is between two sections, are all slabs and some raw magazines in behind. So there's like slab boxes and magazines and stuff in this section. And I sort of organize it by, there is some theme to it. Like at the very bottom, it's all Golden Age slabs. Like you can see two big stacks of Golden Age and two CGC boxes. Those are all Golden Age slabs. So there's a lot of Golden Age, a lot of Golden Age stuff. Over here, you can see like I just have like a bunch of long boxes that I just didn't have anywhere to put them. And then I have some extra like banker boxes. And then in behind that, I have my Warren collection. So my Warren collection is in behind all of these things. So all this stuff, in behind it is my Warren collection. So this whole 2 rows, like this row and a column, these 2 columns, and all these rows are my Warren collection. And there's like just like, so it's like 5 times 5. Is that right? Yeah, 5 times 5. So 25 boxes of Warren magazines. And then over here, you can see more long boxes. So then it gets into my long boxes. You can see where I record the video. I have it on a stand usually. And then there's more long boxes below. And these ones are a little bit more organized. So you can see like this is like, and there's not really a theme to the boxes, but this is actually Archie and Lois Lane is in that box. And this is like my Walking Dead, Doom Patrol. And so there's no real organization. It's not organized by DC or Marvel or anything like that. It's just whatever kind of fits into the box where I can keep the collection together, if that makes sense. And then up here, like it's a little bit disorganized because I was moving things around. We got some statues, and then in behind it is like short boxes with some more stuff. And then even on top, I'm not sure if you can see it, but on top I have some more comics that just I didn't have room for. I don't know where to put. So I just kind of stacked them on top. And I did that with some magazines in there. And then up above, there's some more short boxes in behind with some more modern related comics. And then I think my Dave Stevens collection is behind there. And then some more long boxes. And you can see like I label each of the long boxes with what's inside. And then you can see how I have stacks of comics on top. Usually those, like what happens is the long box gets full of some theme. And then I stack on top of the box books that should belong to that theme that I just didn't have enough room in the box to put them. So you'll see how there's stacks of comics on top of the long boxes where they're in the same theme. So for example, this is my Spider-Man box, all Spider-Man. And then on top is some more Spider-Man stuff or related things. Or actually, in the case, these ones are actually ones that belong to the box next to it. But normally it'd be something on top that would be related. And then down here, more long boxes. So I have a whole bunch of long boxes. And that's really my organization. It's a bit of a mess. It doesn't necessarily make sense. I'll show you one more aspect of this room. If I keep on going up, you'll see all the long boxes. And then way up in the corner here, there was supposed to be like a little TV. Like this was actually an exercise room by the previous owners. And what they had was a little TV that would go up there. And there's a plug and outlet and all that kind of stuff up there. But what I use it for is my showcase collection. So all my showcase books are in there. So I have all the first appearances of different things that appeared in showcase. I put them up there. And that's just the way I did it. So a little bit crazy. And in behind, as I said, in behind the slabs at the top are more boxes. Most of the boxes that are in behind these ones are either comics that I don't really like. They're my coverless copies of like kind of junky comics, like Golden Age, like cartoon related, like coverless copies and Silver Age stuff that isn't really that great. So I've stuffed it up there. Over here behind all this stuff would be my coins. Like it's all coins in behind. It's just like boxes and boxes of coins. And then in behind here is more coins. And then in behind the very top up here is like posters. I have a whole bunch of posters. So Warren Publishing produced posters, and I have a whole bunch of those. And I also collected movie posters. So I have a whole bunch of movie posters because I used to go to Blockbuster all the time, and they would give away posters. So I'd have a collection of movie posters, some pretty cool ones. And that is it. That is my that is my room tour. A little chaotic, I admit, but I hope you enjoyed. Let me flip this around. So I hope you enjoyed that room tour. It was a little chaotic. You can see that it was just like, it's a little bit unorganized. And that's just because we were showing the house to a whole bunch of people. And I sort of stuffed everything to try to get things out of the main house and stuffed it in here just to kind of sort it out for a temporary thing. Now I got to actually move all this stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm really scared actually when it comes to that. But yeah, so that's the video for this week. If you have a question which you'd like answered, put it in the comments below, and maybe you can get a room tour out of it. But yeah, I enjoy these questions. I think they're always fun. I always try to show some really great stuff for you. And I hope you enjoy. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And encourage others to like and comment, subscribe. Because I want to get to 3,000 subscribers. That's my goal. So just a quick thing. This is like a little extra bonus thing at the very end of this video. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, ultimately. I know that's a pretty big goal. But the reason is my kids always make fun of me for collecting comics, and they think it's not cool. So one of the things that we talked about was, my channel. They always make fun of my comic channel. They always, my son will even do a impersonation of me doing my comic show. And he always makes fun of me for this comic show. And, I said, what number of subscribers would it make you, would make you guys take this channel seriously, that it's actually, something cool and I'm not such a lame father. And they said 10,000. That was the number that they agreed upon would be like, if I get 10,000 subscribers, then they would see me as cool. So that's my goal. My goal is pretty weird. I'm trying to be that cool father. And I hope that you, the viewer watching this, can help me reach that goal so I can be a cool father to my kids. It's so lame, but that's my goal. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye for now.